Um, okay. I think this is gonna be the last video today. Um, I'm gonna talk about some things in my childhood that I just like need to get off of my chest. It's like stuff I talk to my therapist about. It's worked through essentially, but like I said before, like I just have like bad nightmares, and so I'm just hoping to get like stuff out of my chest. Like I've written about it, so maybe this will help too. Um, so I want to say that, and I'm going to talk about the most important thing, I think, first, is that in the Mormon religion, okay, gay people, it wasn't a thing. They were like, love the person, not the sin. You know, they shouldn't be parents. They can't be good parents. They shouldn't adopt kids. You know, they're not going to get married in the temple. It was very just, you know, they just hated them, you know, that group of people. And as a kid, like young teenager or whatever, I was so confused about how people were like, or like my idea was like, doesn't he just like love everybody? And like he just wants us to be happy and like find and like love others too. And like, how are you supposed to, like, why are you translating for God into something that's like hateful and stuff like of stuff like people can't control? Like it's just innately who they are, you know. um and so that always, it was a really big thing for me and my dad mostly, but it was just, if you're living in this house, you have to go to church and do all the church activities, or like, you know, this is my house, you're under my roof, you have to do what I say, or you don't have a place to live. Which is like ironic because like you bought me, bitch, like you but you know. Okay, so it's a very patriarchal thing. So there's like the bishop and his counselors, so just a lot of white men. And so it's just like, yeah, gay people, no, we don't talk about it. And there was, I don't remember specifically what it was, but like I said, like very openly in church sometime or somewhere, like I was like, they're fine. Like, you know, it's like, you guys are weird to judge these people or like, you guys are stupid. Like, I really, like, I was so openly like, you guys are actually hateful people. I don't understand how you're like, we're lovey, blah, 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 and then turn around and say, like, God hates fags. You know, like, what are you? Oh my God. You know, and so even as a teenager, that really affected me. And so there's 3 instances connected to that. One, the bishop, Bishop Verbeck, fuck you, old white guy. I think I was probably like 13 at the time or something, and he locked me in his church office, like shut the door, just me and him, and he verbally assaulted me. Like he raised his voice, he was yelling in my face, like he spit, like when you know when someone's mad, you're yeah, like that. And he was saying like, you're wrong, you don't know God, I'm right, you have to do what I say. Like it says right here that God is like, says like they're not supposed to be gay people or something or whatever. And then he was like, you know, you're gonna get excommunicated, you know, you're terrible, and like, you know, like horrific things, right? And so I clearly was upset. I've never been in that situation. I've never had an adult yell at me like that before, especially a man. And nobody cared. My dad was there, like outside the door. He didn't care. The only one who kind of did was my sister used to live like close to the church, and so obviously I was so upset, and so I kind of told her what happened, and she was like, that's like, she went to my dad and like, that's really inappropriate, I can't believe like you let the guy do that or whatever. But that was it, that was end of story. Whatever, still had to go to church. And then, okay, the second thing with the is the thing in the Mormon church, it's called the Proclamation of Family. and it's this document from God or whatever, and it's like explains what a family is and how it should be. And so a family is a mother and a father, and then they lie together, and then they have children, and this brings them blessings, and blah 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 blah. And it was after he yelled at me in the office, and it was with the teenagers, not in the big congregation. It was with the young women, young men, people my age, like Aubrey, Ryan, Whitney, Ward, just a group of people. Who was it? Tatiana? Yeah. Yeah, just people my own age. And so the bishop came in with his counselors, and they stood in front, and they're like, we're going to read this and go over it today. And I was like, I think the fuck not. And so I got up and I left. Okay. And I don't know if anyone who has been in a cult, stand up. But I have never been so scared in my life, other than the yelling thing. But I've never stood up for something before, or was put on the spot like that, or like really attacked for standing up for what I believed in or whatever. And it's like, we're at a church. Like, how? But yeah, they started, and I walked out, and I remembered that I had to hold on to the wall after I got out because I was shaking so badly. I was so upset, and I couldn't tell, my dad, I went up to him, but obviously I couldn't explain it, and it's like I'm causing him problems, basically, and it's like how they view that. It's like, oh, get your daughter under control or something. So I don't know. So that really messed me up, right? Okay. This is the worst part, I think, too. Well, I guess it's not all. Wait, what is it called? Duality. It's a thing of duality. So it's not less or more worse than the other events, but it's I've just never talked about this before to other people. Or my family. There was a Saturday that my parents took me and my little sister Gloria and my mom and my dad, and said that we had a church event to go to. Wasn't an option not to go. Okay. Didn't tell us about it, but I remember it being so far away. We were living in Camas, but it was down in Beaverton or something like that. And it wasn't at an LDS church. It was at a church building where they had what is it, a chapel, with the benches and all that. And then had other rooms for activities, I guess. So we walk in there, and not a lot of people. Most people are spread out, sitting by themselves. It's quiet. I still don't know why we're there. So it began, and this guy came up and said that I was a homosexual, and I repented a lot and worked with my bishop and with God to solve my problems. And here is my wife and my children. And that is my testimony. Go Jesus. Go more, and there were a handful of other families there too, men and women who, just all said the same thing. That it was a disgusting thing, and that they had to repent, and they had to trust God, but now I'm happy and this is the right path. I don't remember anything after that. Like, I don't even remember, like, what I was thinking, because I couldn't. I was just in shock. Okay. Fast forward to 2020, 21. I think it was sometime during the pandemic, but my older sister Gabrielle came out as gay, and we met her girlfriend Debbie. Amazing lady. They got married. My dad gave her away, my sister away at the, all of our family was there for her, and it was a great day. I cried, like, watching my dad, like, walk her down the aisle. I was just up there in, like, the bridesmaid dress and flowers, and I was just, like, crying. I was so happy for them. And at the same time, I was really confused when my parents were okay with that. Is it because they're, like, she's your daughter? Or did you genuinely have, like, wow, being gay is innocent, like, or like, God told me to find, like, I don't understand how that transition of things. And I'm not mad about it. I'm just confused. Because the Book of Mormon and all the religion of Mormonism is super racist. The Mormons themselves committed genocide of us natives when they came to Salt Lake City, and then they would kill the parents and then adopt us as children and save us, and then because God told them to, and that's how you get to heaven. And it's like, I'm not Stephen and Lisa, I'm not your ticket to heaven. White savior complex much? Like, I would have been fine in Guatemala too. I would do the same. I would be ambitious and confident and search for knowledge in any way I wanted, like, I could get my hands on. I'd teach myself, like, I'd learn how to appreciate music. Like, everything that's about me is still me, and that it doesn't come from them. And it's not like I became that despite them. And it's not like I want them to, like, inherently disregard the religion that they've had for their entire life or for the generations of their family. But you also have to acknowledge the whole truth. That Joseph Smith was a fraud, a known fraud, and that he stole from, like, the popular books at the time and rearranged it. Like, the way they wrote, like, the public school books, very similar to how the Bible sounds, like that kind of, like, how would you say it, like 7 years ago, and the, like, that kind of old, that's how everything was written back then. And so he copied off of it, like, word for word, one of the educational books at the time. And you know, him and his dad were known scammers. Like they translated these gold plates left in the hill with a rock, a literal rock, and they put it in a hat, and then they put their head in the hat, and that's how they translated it. But if you go back into the Mormon history, they changed things because obviously that's insane, right? So instead, now the story is that he had a friend with him, and that he would hear the gospel, and then in that, like, God talking to him, and then Joseph Smith would tell him to write it down. So it was more like a psychic thing, not looking like, you know. And so it's just, you know, he like a pedophile, like he himself were racist. Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't walk away for us, me and Gloria. And we have like Mongolian nieces and nephews and Japanese, you know, because of my brothers and their wives and everything. But even then, they are considered white, you know. There's like, I mean, they are, but it's just like, as long as you don't look dark, essentially. I don't know, it's just a lot of fucked up things. Yeah. Yeah, it's just hypocrites. It really hurts my brain, and you know, I'm glad they met each other and everything, and they're like happy and stuff. Just the idea around it is, you know. And then I have a little note here of just like other things that I'm gonna talk about, and it doesn't exactly tie in, but I still like, I don't want to make another video. I don't want to do it. They stress me out, even though I'm smiling. I have a headache. Oh, okay. So this is like kind of mostly stuff about my mom, and a lot of like emotional neglect, emotional abuse, kind of psychological thing, gaslighting, like narcissistic behavior, stuff like that. So a lot of the time growing up, she would say, you're a slut, a bitch, or a whore. Like, and then I'm like, you're literally calling your daughter a whore. What does that say about you? And she's like, and she would always say, I'm not calling you one. I'm saying you're acting like one. Okay. And she would say that because of my body type. Like, I had just bigger boobs and a bigger butt, and naturally held more weight or whatever. And I wasn't even like fat, like, you know, like looking back at it, but it's just like, yeah, I don't know how you would call someone that all the time. Like, it just fucks with my head sometimes. And that after I was like maybe 5 or something, like, my doctor was a midwife. My sister's midwife was my doctor up until I was like 18, maybe even a little bit after. Okay. A midwife, a naturopath. Okay. And I think that actually really did not benefit my health. You know, like they did labs. No, just like how you feel, like just real, like I didn't appreciate that. I wish I had better health care. I'm still healthy, like, you know, but it's just like cringy to think about. I would never take my child to a midwife as their primary care doctor for more than like, I don't even know. I mean, I went, if I started at like 9, went to, yeah, just a long time. Oh, and that I had a really heavy period growing up, and shout out to IUD, the one, what is it called? Mirena, I think. But that I just had a heavy period growing up, and my mom, I remember she asked the midwife lady, what is she doing wrong? What does she need to stop doing to make it better? First of all, it's embarrassing that you don't have that knowledge, like, you don't know how periods work yourself. That's embarrassing. Clearly, you need, like, whatever. But that, like, it was my fault in that it's like I thought everything was inherently, like, it was just like, oh, I guess I did do something bad, or like I'm doing something and it's my body's fucked, like. But it wasn't ever like, okay, well, let's look into this, or like, oh my god, you're so fucking anemic, this is why you're dizzy and like you're tired, and like I, after I found like a real doctor when I was like 19 or 20, like my first, like an MD, like they prescribed me iron, like from the pharmacy. They're like, you're really fucked up, dude. Like you need, like, how did you not catch, like, just stuff like that. Okay. Oh, and my mom, she pushed me out of a moving car. It was in front of this lady's house for young women's activity. So all like the teenage girls get together and do like cooking or learning how to fucking sew, or like how to catch your perfect husband. And for whatever reason, we were fighting, and I was unbuckling myself, so, like, to get ready to get out, because we were coming up like just around the corner or whatever. And so I like was trying to get out, like she wasn't stopping in front of the house, and so like the door was open and I was like waiting, like, how you unbuckle and you just hold it, and like I was like, why aren't you stopping or whatever, and like she's yelling and like all this stuff, and like and then like she just pushes me out, and since I was already unbuckled and the door was already, my hand was like just kind of tumbled out. And I remember going up to the house, and I wasn't okay mentally. But it was like we were just baking cookies or something, so it was easier to just like not cry, and not like my mom just did, like. So yeah, that sucked. Oh, one time she locked me in the she locked me in the bedroom upstairs in the family TV room. Like, like I woke up from a nap and was like going to my bed, and she was like, she shut the door and she was like, you're gonna tell me what your problem is right now. Like, like, seriously, what the fuck is your fucking problem? Like, I don't know. And I started crying because like I was so tired, like just because I was anemic as fuck, and then also like had like a mild eating disorder because my mom is a fucking almond mom and has her own shit. And so like I remember just so tired, like, when you're like in a deep sleep and you get woken up and all you want to do, like, you can roll over and go right back, but someone's like. So I started crying, and she's like, I was just, I just want to go to bed. Let me go to bed. Like, and she held onto my arm with her nails, and she like looked at me and she was like, I can see the darkness in your eyes. I'm like, yeah, bitch, that's depression. I fucking tell you, like, bitch, don't even, like, but she was trying to like and eat, like, making it creepy and like scare, like, like she's mentally, so. Sorry, I hear the neighbors outside. Yeah, and I eventually like was able to open the door and stuff, and She broke, like, I had a scar of her nails for like a week. But that's normal, right? And then, oh, not to rely on medications. Okay, I'll just myself. Okay. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. Okay, I'll just, oh my god. And then, like, the last thing, like, kind of with the first stuff that I said, but I did a lot of good. I was in DECA, a business thing in high school. I was really good at it. Like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, I went to state. My projects placed. I was really good at the tests. Like I got so many medals. Like I think last time I counted, it was like 18 or like 22. I don't know, but just a lot of medals. Like third, first, like not to brag. But on certain ones, we like for state, we have to go up to like Bellevue, and you always get dressed up, business casual. And I came home after getting like it like third place or something. Like I got on stage. Like I was like, "Are you freaking serious?" Like I just remember like being crazy. Like it was just like out of everyone, like I got on stage. Like other people did too, like from our school, but I was just like, I never thought like that would be something like, and there's like thousands of kids, like high school, and judges and professionals and like, and projectors and like lasers, and like it was like, and I was like walked on stage, and I was like, I told the lady next to me, I was like, I might hold on to you because I'm gonna fall. Like I was just so nervous, right? So I was obviously so proud of myself. Long day, and then I get home at like, I don't know, 5 or 6, and the first thing she says is, "You look like a slut." Because I was wearing a skirt, I think. And I flipped out. I just yelled at her. I didn't cry that time, but I was like, "You're stupid." Like after everything today, after after my, like, you didn't say congratulations, you didn't ask me how it went, you didn't say like, did you like, how was it? It was just like, you look like a slut. And I'm like, I was wearing tights and I was wearing like an ugly, just white button up, just business casual. It's not a sexy thing, And if you know David Johnson, the DECA guy, he is very strict on like not looking like wearing a party dress or like going like for that. It's like you're very much professional. And so I also had like black tights on. Okay, so and I wasn't looking like a hoe, and it's just like stuff like that, right? And yes, the last thing I'm gonna say is that for my when I turned 16, I asked for a quinceañera party, and my parents, well, specifically my mom, was like, "Okay, but you can't have a sweet 16. It's either that or that." And like she was, I mean, if you know my mom, then you do, but it wasn't an option basically. Because she would be put out of her comfort zone. It would be more work for her. So whatever. So we had like a carnival theme thing party at like that park by Top Burger. I don't remember the name. And did like pin the tail on the donkey or like ring toss. Cheap as fuck. It wasn't a it was only good because my friends were there, but it was like, but I also, you couldn't say like, I didn't like it because like, you always do that. Okay, I'm just rambling, but yes, that's it. Thank you. Catch me outside. How about that? I don't know. Okay, thanks. Bye.